Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, this is Two Homers and a Realist. This is the conclusion of the 2021 season. What a weird, crazy season it was.
Conclusion of season 1 of Two Homers and a Realist.
That's right.
Honestly.
But it was one heck of a season, and we finished big with a giant win with Big Game Bob coming in to the Alamo Bowl, defeating Oregon 47-32, doing it in style and an amazing fashion. Just awesome. The pageantry about it, the post-game, just really, really awesome to see Bob be able to close this thing out after what a weird and crazy season we just had.
It's a high note. It was a
It
high
is a
note
very big high
sure.
note.
It's always good to go to an off-season winning a bowl game instead of losing in a playoff.
That's
I don't know about that.
That's an off-season
That's
pod.
an off-season
That's an
pod.
off-season pod.
That's a
We're not
loaded,
gonna go
Tightly held conviction by
loaded
the realist.
thought. Loaded thought. Yeah.
Cincinnati would definitely agree with that.
Yeah. It's better. Yeah, they would much rather not be playing Alabama.
That's a
They
different
really
program.
wish they were going to get left out of the playoff. They were trying to get left out so they could just go get a bowl win and be happy with it.
That's a different program.
Rather than to have a chance.
Okay.
Anyway.
We won our bowl game.
did.
We kicked the crap out of Oregon, and I think we're undefeated against Oregon. I don't know about you guys, but between me, you, and Gordon Reese, I think only one of us thinks that we lost that game in 2006.
Yeah, ethics say we won that game.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
I'm with you.
We definitely won tonight. That was pretty fantastic. By the way, I'm drinking a. What did you bring over?
we are drinking Four Roses.
Four Roses
just
bourbon.
on the rocks. On the rocks.
On the rocks. What are you drinking?
Cronenberg.
You are
Cronenberg
not.
for
Where
Lucas.
is it? I
He
don't
was
see.
drinking a
I just
Cronenberg.
Where's your
finished it.
1664?
I just finished my 1664.
All
You
right.
are a Cronenberg.
Well, Mr. Cronenberg here
Well,
has
normally I
to
drink
be.
Yangling on this podcast, but today I was drinking Cronenberg.
Well, either way, you got to feel pretty good about what you saw today. That was pretty.
Yep.
That was pretty awesome. It was a great way to close the season out. It was great to see us. I know that we were favored, and we opened up the favorite. We just extended that as things went on. They obviously had a lot of players, Oregon did, who weren't able to make the game. And we had a lot of momentum on our side, I think, with a Hall of Fame coach leading us and leading the charge. And I think we had the emotional, moral support that we needed to keep us energized going into practices. But it's good to see us close it out and win, even though we were supposed to win. And we won big. We probably could have won even bigger if it wasn't for a few busted plays on defense. But pretty excited about the fact that we won big. It was very interesting to see us play the way we did, giving up big plays at the end, getting an onside kick yet again, another onside kick against us, and what has to be a record this season of onside kick attempts made against us.
Yep.
We did recover it, though, just like we did in 2006 against Oregon. And it's just interesting to see all the twists and turns of where we've been. If you remember, and I think if you go back to the podcast after the Tulane game, for completely different expectations or reasons, I said, I predict at the end of the season we'll be kicking ourselves for how good we could have been for what we did in that game and how we ended that game. And I think it's really true, but for different reasons than I expected. I definitely didn't expect that Lincoln Riley was on his way out, looking for an exit, and that he would find that exit. But I think you saw some flashes of brilliance in this team today. You saw the talent. You saw what they're capable of doing. Not Isaiah Thomas, but Perry and Winfrey, he tweeted out, I wonder what the difference was. And so kind of a shot against the coaching staff that has left, probably a shot against Grinch in particular, and just shows you that this team has a lot of talent on it and has a higher ceiling than what we've been seeing over the last really several seasons, but especially this season. What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think we gave a lot of guys to that point, just on the Winfrey tweet. It was crazy to see. We gave a lot of guys some run that, I maybe didn't expect to give run to, and maybe some guys that we didn't initially have playing in this game that I thought would probably be out there more up front. For example, you see Stutzman come in, you see Downs come in, and it's an immediate impact. And it's immediate. You feel the game feels different. It feels like we've picked up our pace on defense. It feels like there's impactful plays being made in at least the run game and in the short passing game as well. the deep passes in the second half are a different story, something we can touch on later. But I think a lot of positives can come out of this. It'll be crazy to see what happens when Venables gets his hands on a team like we have.
And Schmidt and all the incoming coaches.
And all of these new coaches that have been kind of from this Venables tree, in a lot of cases at least.
Or at least hand-selected by him to do what he wants to do.
To do what he wants to do. And so if you see, some of these young guys and just their raw talent that we saw tonight, I mean, Lucas and I were talking about it. I don't know what Downs has been on in the last 30 days, but homeboy looks like a completely different person. So you add Schmidt to that equation, and Ethan Downs, I mean, everyone is comparing to him, the next Dan Cody or something like that. So you might see that kind of come to a fruition, and that's just one player. So a lot to be excited about on that side of the ball, and then you look at Caleb Williams as well. You look at the offense and all the guys who are going to be there next year. Hopefully Brooks looks in the mirror and says, after what he did tonight, I can do just as much in a Jeff Lebby offense. Not only that, but Marcus Major, which Jay brought up, is going to be a force in that offense as well. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of positives to look at. It'll be interesting to see. Kind of what this team looks like going forward into the 2022 season.
Do you think that Brooks comes back? Let's just jump right into that.
I think he'd be smart too. I think the Lebby offense, they throw a lot, but from what I've seen, it's pretty balanced. And I mean, he could come out and have another 1,000-yard rushing year and be the first ever OU player to have 4 1,000-yard rushing years.
I mean, honestly, if he gets a lot of carries, he could compete with DeMarco's record and everybody else.
Well, how many games did he start this year? That's what's so crazy. Eric Gray got the majority of the starts. Not to say that matters, but I mean, Kennedy Brooks isn't.
Well, he was giving up a lot of carries to that guy.
He didn't get a touch
in
the first 2 drives tonight.
He wasn't the type of running back, or it wasn't the situation where he was getting 70 or 80% of the carries like you see at Oklahoma State typically with their running backs. So he was splitting carries with the guys and not getting the ball that much, and yet still producing incredible output. I would like to see him come back just from the standpoint, we were talking about this earlier, about having the depth. I'm not completely enamored with him as being just an all-star, but it would be good to have the depth. It would be good to have the experience as well.
Does that force Marcus Major to rethink what he's going to do if he's a third guy on the depth chart?
I think DeMarco Murray has such a stronghold on that room where it might be, it is a next guy.
Telling him it's a fresh start.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so crazy is we came into this season with like, oh well, if there's anywhere we have depth. Or even you look at the end of last season. If there's anywhere we have depth, it's probably running back. And then we see that going from one of our deepest positions to being a position we had hardly any depth at all. So, I mean, you go from Brooks, Gray, Major, I don't count the 2 walk-ons that are there, to the guys we have coming in, Sawchuk, and we have one other guy, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're looking at a 4 to 5 deep room, and Major is in a 3 deep rotation for the touches next year.
And if he chooses to go somewhere else because of that, he chooses to go somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah,
he's close to home.
Yeah,
he seemed to be running with a lot of enthusiasm tonight.
Yeah, he finished with 10 for 54, and those were with guys draped all over him. He was dragging them 3 yards to get those first downs on the final drive.
Yeah, I think you have to assume that he's going to give it a go.
Well, Steve said it well. That's the running back that I kind of envision as an OU back. Like that's a tank of a dude, and
with speed.
He's leaned up, he has speed, and he has yards after contact. So it's interesting.
It was good to see Farouk get some really quality catches this evening. It'll be interesting to see what happens and what transpires with the different receiving corps. Theo Weiss didn't play at all that I saw. That was interesting.
So what do you think that was? You think that's a knock against him, being like, hey, you went to the transfer portal?
I don't know.
From what one of the other podcasts, I think it was Scoop, said that he had some family issues that were going on the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was why he didn't play.
Fair enough.
Well, I'd like to see our receiving corps look at it as a lot of opportunity. I mean, I don't see how you don't, which is, Hazelwood leaves, it's just more head scratching of What is the kid thinking when you've got a really good offensive coordinator coming in, a lot of offensive weapons all around? Do you really feel like you need to make a different start somewhere else when you're already the starter? There's no reason that Lebby wouldn't give him kind of the nod as the first guy.
You're the guy
to get the first shot at it, even if it was an open practice and anybody can establish themselves. So
Well, it sounds like he was a Rattler guy through and through.
I
And
guess so.
with
Whatever
Rattler
that
leaving,
means.
he didn't want to
And that's so weird is because after the Texas game or one of those games, he comes out and we see all the reports that Hazelwood, stood up in front of the team in the locker room and said, I don't care what I do. I don't care what it means. Like, all I want to do is help this team win.
Yeah.
So, and that was after the Caleb Williams stuff. Like, I was like, oh, so you're a Caleb guy. Like, you want to do whatever it is because, you have your guy now and you're a part of this group.
Yeah, maybe that was just
That was
him
odd.
We went to the OU Florida
defending the fact
basketball
that
game.
he was a Rattler guy. I don't know.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he was
they went to
there
OU Florida basketball game, and Hazelwood was there, sitting 5 seats down from Caleb Williams.
with all of the
And
other
that was
football
right
players.
after he
yeah.
announced that he was
Yeah,
transferring.
he already
or right
said
before?
he was transferring.
Yeah, it was
at
right
that
after
point.
he
Or
announced
he was already in the
it,
portal. I don't know if he'd already picked Arkansas at that point.
No, I think he was just in the portal.
He was
You're
in
right.
the portal.
Hard to say. He must. I mean, maybe he has some. Maybe he knows exactly what he's doing, and it's a great decision.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got
Maybe he's
influences that are bad
Wide receiver number 1.
from
there.
other people elsewhere in his circle. I don't know, but it's interesting. I think we're well suited regardless with the talent that we've got coming back. It's just great to see another guy in Farouk that obviously can be a contributor
Yep.
and can add a lot to your offensive.
Well, it'll be
weaponry.
nice to have that. That's been such a weird, counterintuitive feeling that I've had over the past few years with Lincoln is you recruit all these guys, and a lot of the guys, admittedly so, have egos.
Yeah.
And it's so much to the fact it's like, well, crap, if we have depth, someone's going to get pissed off because they're not getting the ball. They're not. You have depth, which is great, but at the same time, some people in that depth chart aren't getting the touches that they expect to have when they come in.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, at what point? At some point, you're going to start having this turnover, which we've seen.
Yeah.
So I'm
And it can
excited.
be all right if you've got guys rising to the top and other guys just not making it
Right.
and moving on. We didn't have those guys rising to the
It was
top.
all roles.
After several years
Yeah.
of having guys continue for the Blitnikoff, then all of a sudden we don't have that when we should on paper because now we got the 5 stars coming
Yep.
in. You look back at that class, Theo Buster will be the only one in that class, right? That if he makes it, if he continues. So
Right.
that'll be interesting to
Yeah, it'll
see.
be. I'm excited for it. I hope it's a more of a team first mentality, which Venables has been preaching, and I'm hoping it's exactly what some of these other guys say in front of the camera or on social media or whatever. It's like, oh, it's for the team. It's like that's what I want.
So I'm pretty excited about Venables. Forgive me for my, 4 glasses in, and it's pretty late, and fighting COVID or whatever I've got. But have we podcasted since the Venables announcement and everything?
Yeah.
And so we went out to the airport and we witnessed him come in,
Yep.
and that was pretty awesome. I think, just to circle back to that, I'm really excited about the future. I think it's a great change. I think it's going to be really, really strong for us. I don't know. It's just amazing to see where we are today versus where we were right after the announcement from Lincoln Riley
How
of
long ago
leaving,
does that feel
and
like?
where we were. Yeah, absolutely. It seems like it was months and months ago,
Right.
and then where we were throughout the season with so many things going through our head of what's wrong. That it was close, that it was fixable, and it wasn't getting fixed. It wasn't getting changed. Nothing was improving. And then here now, where we stand today with this bowl victory, it just feels really good. It feels really, really good.
I want to give a shout out to Kel Gundy for his first
Absolutely.
ever offensive coordinator shot.
Yep.
At the I wanted him when Wilson left for Indiana. I was really hoping Kel would get a shot at offensive coordinator, and then we brought in Heupel. That had mixed results, and then I was hoping after Heupel left, give Kel a shot, and then they brought in Lincoln, which turned out great results as the offensive coordinator.
But what if they had done that back when
I mean,
Wilson
who
left?
knows? We can't judge everything on this one game, but I'm happy Kel got his
No,
shot.
we can't.
and
We're going to judge
improved.
everything on this one game, and I'd say we would have won
Yeah.
4 national titles, and there would have been no stopping us the entire way. No, I agree. It was great to see Kale he coached a really good game. After
Yeah.
a shaky start in the
First
first
drive,
series.
we were like, oh crap, is this what it's going to look like?
Well, and I bet that's just the taste, and that's the little touch of the sun that Kale needs. And it's like, all right, like, you know, I don't think Kale's like, oh, I'm gonna ride this high, and like it's gonna be maybe I do need to think about other things.
Yeah, I don't think he's looking to go anywhere.
I think this is I'm here,
Rejuvenated.
We did exactly what we needed to do. I called a great game. I think we solidified what we might be doing going forward, and gave Lebby a good idea of who we have,
And probably established some credibility, not that he needed it, with a lot of players.
Right.
I think it just is one more thing that's very solid in our program right now.
Yeah.
That's very good.
He's so
such
good as a
rock.
Swiss Army knife.
Oh.
It's just, you know,
Oh, yeah.
I can go
He used
coach
to be running
anything.
backs coach,
Yeah.
and he was receivers coach.
I mean,
Inside receivers coach.
Yeah.
It's
there's
just
a
like, it
risk
goes
that
on and
he
on.
gets to be the most forgotten coach that is so deserved of recognition.
Yeah.
We need a
The next
statue
closest thing to a
to
statue.
Cale
The
Gundy.
next closest thing to a statue.
Because
that
of
we
everything he's done as far as I can tell, by every measure, the longest coach tenure of any coach in Oklahoma football history. I've researched it to a small degree. I can't find anyone who's coached as long as he's coached, and been associated with the program even longer as a player. So that's really saying something, and he's been through a lot of turmoil in all that time.
He's done a great job recruiting over the years, too.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Just
he's the guy that
incredible.
got Adrian Peterson on campus, and for that, I'll always love the guy.
Among so many other great recruits.
Yes, tons.
Yeah, very,
But plenty. I mean, I loved how the fact
very
that
noteworthy.
we ran the ball after we come out throwing it and it had not quite working right off the bat. We kept with running the ball. Even we weren't just trying to run the clock out.
No.
We were moving the ball.
There was the one drive after the Williams face mask that should have been a touchdown. That wasn't a touchdown. Not should have been. But when he ran in and then it was
Mario
called back,
Williams.
whatever.
Yeah.
And Mario Williams. Apologies. And then we get it down there towards the goal line and we go pass. That was the only time I ever said, man, and you guys said it too, we could have used 1 or 2 runs, you know, up front. But other than that, like you guys said, we've seen so many times this year, especially in the second half, where we've abandoned that game plan. We've abandoned that approach where it's like, oh, this is almost working too well. Clearly they're going to pick up on this. Let's not do it. No, we stuck to it, and we didn't just use one guy. We saw Eric Gray do exactly what we wanted him to do all season and get out in the open and make a play. We saw Marcus Major come in and play the old circa Trey Sermon role where he closes stuff out, is the power back, and goes and starts bulldozing guys over and
54 yards
closes
on
it
10
out.
carries.
Yeah, so I mean that's what I think that's what's so frustrating is it is that easy. And I don't want to make college football sound easy. I don't want to make coaching sound easy. I don't want to make winning games sound easy. But it is truly that simple. If you have the talent that OU has, it should never be overly complicated where it makes it that difficult to win a game. So
Interestingly, we didn't even introduce ourselves. We just jumped right into it. But there's only 3 of us here. Jay is texting in some thoughts. So obviously this is Steve, Connor, and
Lucas.
the original 2 homers and 1 realist.
Yes.
Yes.
The realist, Lucas. But Jay is saying he's excited for Brent Venables' imprint on defense. Caleb stays, we're playoff potential. He leaves, we still win Big 12. Major could be a major force in Lebby's offense, and so I'd agree with all of that from Jay. Jay couldn't be here because he's a wuss, a weenie, a baby. He lives 5 minutes away. I don't know why he couldn't be here just because he gets up at 4:30 in the morning to save lives. It's not that important.
Yeah.
But
We don't miss games on TV.
we don't miss games.
We don't miss games on TV.
We don't miss games on TV. That's what we do.
Not
Jay.
together, at least. We don't miss games on TV together.
I hope you're happy saving lives tomorrow, but whatever.
He's not saving lives. It's all elective surgeries.
Exactly. I didn't want to say it, but it's
Trying to make people feel better.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Whatever.
all right. We miss you, Jay.
Cosmetic stuff.
I said before the podcast.
I don't even remember him, actually.
I miss you. Yeah.
I wish he'd come back. Well, his insights, I'm sure he'd have a lot to say that would be insightful here, but
Jay would have a full breakdown of the defensive coverages and all of that stuff.
he had a lot to
I
say
would like
about
to hear his
DJ
thoughts
Graham.
on the blocking schemes.
Yeah,
on the runs because
absolutely.
I am interested. I wonder what if Beatonbow did switch it up any, because it looked like we ran the ball differently.
Just more straightforwardly.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, and it's like I said, and it may just be coincidental, but all 3 of those rushing touchdowns that Kennedy Brooks had were off tackle, left side to the front of the end zone. So it's, I mean, and I get front of the end zone, whatever. It's to the end zone regardless. But something was working, and something we stuck to that. So you don't see that. We never saw that level of consistency with the run this year, except for the Texas play that worked twice.
Right.
Like we've talked about.
But we ran the ball. We were
again.
running the ball tonight over multiple drives for most of all the second half for sure, when everyone knew we were running.
Yeah.
Their defense knew we were running. We obviously knew we were running. And so it was in those positions that when we were able to have success, that it was something that we have seen in the past. We did not see all this season.
Right.
And that was really good to see. So they're showing, I want to mention this, they're showing highlights of the season in college football. They're showing actually the interception of OU against Nebraska.
TJ Graham.
I think that is the most beautiful interception I've ever seen. It was not a great interception. It was labeled at the time the greatest interception ever. It would have been better to bat the ball down, actually. But it was one of the most beautiful interceptions I've ever seen.
And what a juxtaposition to the night he had tonight.
He got burned. He got torched 3 times. Could have been 4. Oh, very disappointing.
It was
shocking.
I think that's what's frustrating is we've seen that. We've seen the same thing with Jaden Davis.
Now, maybe there was a time or two that there was supposed to be safety help, and
that's the only thing I can think is safety help.
I mean, if I was sitting in the end zone, I'd be able to tell you, but watching on TV, it's a little bit tougher.
We tried to switch to the end zone view, but nobody looks at that shit because it's stupid.
There is a reason there's not cameras there.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
you
tell
can't
that to the coaches
anything.
who watch the All-22. Ask where that view is from.
They say, all right, here's
That's
one
where their entire
obscure
game plan
play.
comes
Can
from,
we
by
see
the
it
way.
from the end zone?
Their entire game plan comes from watching that view, just FYI.
To that point, though, I am good riddance to Pat Fields as a safety. Good riddance to Broyles as a safety. Broyles, great job. Another interception off a tip, my friend.
Which probably means he was in the wrong position.
Off a helmet.
Nonetheless, I am so excited for that position to be cleaned up at some point.
Me too.
I don't know what it looks like in the future. I don't know who we put there, and I know there's a lot of listeners who can probably start speculating that fact specifically, but. Oh my God!
Well, even if we get somebody from the cheerleading crew, they'll probably.
But that's
be able
what's
to
so
be in
funny,
position
and,
more
and
often.
people have brought this up. That is Alex Grinch's position. That's what he's coached in the past, and it is garbage.
Yeah, the safeties are bad.
It's been so bad,
and never has gotten better.
We can preach as much as we want how good of people these guys are, but man, football talent-wise, they're so bad.
Turner Yell missed 4 or 5 games
or
so for injury this season, but
he got downhill a couple times tonight where it looked good.
Yeah.
Pat Fields is just so consistently not good at football.
Great student. Not at this level.
Great for your community.
He should not be playing football at the level of an Oklahoma football program. He's not up to that caliber. Do we really think that guy would ever see the field in a Clemson defense in the last 5 years? No, he wouldn't. So, again, he's the kind of player that sort of was. If you look back at the Gibbs years and those where you say, he's a great student, he's a really good person, he's pretty good at football. That's the wrong order of what we're trying to establish when we want championship football. We want a great student and a great person, but they got to be great at football.
Yeah.
They got to be great at their position.
You got to help me win the game.
That's the elite level that we're trying to get to, and I think we're going to get to in the next few years. I think we're on our way too.
There's a lot of talent. There was a lot of talent on that field tonight, whether it be experienced talent, whether it be young talent,
a lot of young talent,
whatever you want to say is. I mean, I'm super ecstatic. I mean, you look at that. You look at our front 7 tonight. I mean, it's got a ton of potential, endless potential. Honestly, I mean, we saw Stripling get in there a couple times. We saw.
A couple times. He was in there a ton.
We saw Grimes get in there. Jalen Redmond should be the leader of that defense next year, which is exciting to see. So clearly it's the secondary that everyone kind of, steps back, and that's been the case for years.
Get some new people in there with good coaching, though. It can very quickly get very good. The transfer portal is definitely something we'll probably lean on, I would imagine. I would hope so, as well as late signees. So we've got 16 signees right now. Is that right? 15, 16?
It's between 14 and 16. I don't remember which one it is.
Jay would know for sure.
Jay would know. Jay would know each player's name, middle name, and parents' name.
Yeah, he would know their pets.
Yeah.
So
Jay's actually making in-home visits as we speak. That's why he can't be here.
Yeah.
So.
I appreciate that out of Jay.
We
But
went-
it
talk
looks
about
like,
other bowl game stuff.
huh?
I think Caleb throwing the deep ball was nice to see. Mm-hmm. We've kind of had issues.
Yeah, that's a
We've
good
talked
point.
about it earlier in the season. You know that the Texas game, he threw a couple just complete toss-ups, and our guys went and got them. And throughout the rest of the games, we were just kind of wondering when he was going to finally get good with the deep ball.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was
And
a
he threw a
couple
couple good
different.
ones today.
Yeah, a couple really good. I mean, very good. That pass to Mims, 55 yards which was about 45 yards in the air, if not
No,
longer.
it was 60,
65
it was
yards.
65.
No, that's
65
right. Yeah,
yards.
because he's back.
He threw it
dropped
from
back.
the 35 to the 5.
To the 5-yard line,
So,
yeah.
about
60
60
yards.
yards.
Amazing throw, right in stride,
The Mario
perfect.
Williams where he got
And
his
that's the
helmet
first
ripped
time
off,
that's
that
the
was a
first
great
time he's
throw.
done that.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
first time
Yeah.
that he's hit a dude in stride
yeah.
on a deep ball.
And he's had a
route.
couple chances.
Right.
For sure.
So
Big
that was
difference maker.
extremely refreshing to see.
Yeah,
He
that
did
was
seem a little
great.
antsy. He was throwing the ball, falling away. The touchdown to Drake.
He's a
He-
very
he
back
didn't
foot.
set
He's
his- yeah.
very confident on his
Well,
back foot.
I don't know
so-
if he's confident on his back
Yeah, I
foot
don't love that.
as much as he's trying to avoid the contact,
Yeah.
and he'll get hopefully better
And we got another Rattler for that too.
where he can see what's happening in front of him without looking right at it, and know he doesn't have to be fading away from it and protecting himself.
Yeah.
We actually,
And he's got the body to take that hit. So
Yeah.
I mean.
oh, absolutely.
there's-
That's the other thing. He's a big kid.
Yeah, there's
he can take that hit. He can go forward and take those hits.
a lot of
So
opportunities to shed tackles and make
I think he'll
something
learn
happen.
that.
So
The play call, I really like the play call where Jeremiah Hall set up over at the H-back side on a 3rd and 1, and then he
Yeah.
ran behind center and took the snap.
yeah.
And Caleb just stood back in the backfield like
Yeah.
it was going to be a shotgun play, but Hall ran up behind and took the snap. That was a pretty innovative play.
Yeah, for a first down.
I know we're jumping around here, but I'm just trying to think of the different things.
No,
no,
good.
it's good. I mean, I think
during
it's
the
good to
game.
recap.
We're gonna have a recap, season-long recap for probably next week.
Yeah.
And we'll also do what to look forward to the next season. So I was trying to bring it back into focus just for this.
No,
No,
that's
that's
right. Just to close out,
good
we,
point.
we do have 15 recruits. So that's good to see that we're ranked 17th with just 15 recruits, an average rating of, for what it's worth, 3.73. So we've got 25 more positions to fill to get to a complete recruiting class.
I think just real quick on that one point that Lucas just made, it is how much we utilized Hall tonight.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, look at the missed opportunities.
The whole season.
Look at the missed opportunity, and it's you don't even have to be creative with it.
That
No.
4th down play.
You don't have to be
It's
creative. with it at all.
straightforward football.
You sit the dude down in the middle of the field and you let him move the sticks.
Was it the second drive of the game? Then we had the 4th and 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
sat him out on the little right side, and it's literally that easy.
And we went back to bread and butter type stuff when we were going forward on 4th down. Simple little plays.
2 for 2 on
that
4th
one
down.
where we're just passing the ball.
2 for 2 on 4th
to
down.
a
How
gr-
crazy is
A
that?
great opportunity. Like, you're not trying to just rewrite the rules of football. You're just saying, you get open on a little curl route, and I'm going to throw the ball to you, and
Yeah.
you're going to catch
We
it.
need
And-
2 yards.
and
You
they
run
can't
3,
stop
we're gonna
it.
throw it to you.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it's just like, and Lucas called it when it happened, and given it got called back, but that's the place where it's like, man, sit Drake Stoops in the middle of the field, go do whatever you want. The guy has hands. Sit your skill guys over there who can catch a ball, sit down, and then remove the sticks.
Yep.
I don't need 35 yards on 3rd and 8.
Right.
I need 8 yards.
Especially
That's all I
when
need.
you're nursing a lead and you're trying to stay in possession of the ball.
That's kind of what that looked like tonight. Was a look. This is how you run This is how you run a
we
scheme.
had-
This
we
is
had
how you run an offense.
Good
type of
play
thing.
calling, and we had good clock management.
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah, how about that?
At the
How
end of
about
the
clock
game,
management there?
We had a coach that was like,
Mr.
hey,
R actually,
let's-
Mr. R sent in a text about clock
Let's
management.
snap the
Yeah,
ball.
Dr.
at
R
8
did.
seconds
Dr. R,
instead
yeah,
of 20.
sorry. Dr. R sent in a text about.
There you go.
It's crazy when you actually use clock management to your
Yeah,
favor.
somebody-
And actually have timeouts at your disposal.
No.
Did we didn't use the timeout today?
Nope.
We didn't use a single timeout. I don't think.
so.
I don't think we used.
Did we not use one in the first half?
Not that I remember.
I truly don't think we used the timeout.
I don't think so either. We
Oh,
had all of
I
them.
take the back. we were driving. I think we did. We were driving down the field to go score right before half.
Okay.
Yeah, right
I
before
think,
half.
I think
yes.
we used one.
I thought we used one
like,
in the
in
first
the
So it
last-
was a
inside the
legitimate
last minute
management
and a half.
type of thing. Yeah.
It
Oh,
was,
it was.
It was
'cause
a
we
good.
all
It was
commented
like a
on it.
minute
That's right.
20 or
Yeah.
something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
But
We used
Reasonable.
It was
yeah.
nice.
It was
to
the
see.
correct call.
Not we can't get a play in,
Right.
and then we can't come up with it in our creative mind and our looking at
And
all of our
how
plays.
funny is that? You have a gauntlet of new coaches, or
Yes.
of temporary
Absolutely.
coaches, and you are getting plays in and not having to
With
worry
no
about
trouble.
where you're at
Yeah.
and what you're doing.
Not trying to outthink
speaks
in a
very-
game that you're dominating
speaks very
from start
loudly.
to finish.
So,
Yep.
anyways,
Yeah, it
fun
was
stuff.
an interesting contrast from what we saw throughout the entirety of the season. Very nice to see a close out with a very strong win, for sure. Caleb has to be very happy with his performance.
Oh yeah.
Great game.
Yeah, what was
Quarterback
his
rating of
QBR?
189.7 or something.
21 of 27 for 242 and
3
three
touchdowns, no sacks, no
He had
interceptions.
7 rushes for 34 yards.
Yeah,
So,
He's doing all right.
yep.
very, very good. He's got to feel great about where he is.
That offensive line's going to get better.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're all optimists going into the into the new season.
I think to where we
We're
were
all
at,
homers.
I think to where we were at 30 days ago.
Oh,
Like
God.
you can't look at what you saw tonight. You put that team up against Oklahoma State and Stillwater. It's a damn bloodbath.
Oh,
I kid
absolutely.
you not. I'm that hindsight's 2020.
With our defensive line too.
It's a
With
win.
everyone playing,
It's a win.
It's a solid win.
It's a win.
I mean, it should have been a win if they just called pass interference in the end zone.
exactly, and so give that. You
but
know,
I don't even think
Right.
we have to give them that opportunity to call that.
Yeah, I think.
So,
I think us running the ball just smarter offensive line.
Mm-hmm. Not
But that's
having
why did
fun.
Marcus Major not play up until tonight? Like that says a lot right there.
Well, he couldn't play for the first. 4 or
Okay,
5
for the
games
first
of the
half, I
season
get
due
that.
to
Yeah, but
academics.
But
After
even
that.
then, let's go when he was eligible.
Yeah.
You have, I mean, he's a weapon on your offense. And
Yeah.
not only that, we want to talk about and harp on depth. Good God, give Kennedy Brooks a rest. Give Eric Gray a rest. Or put Eric Gray in the slot and then run a Brooks and Major backfield type
Yeah.
of thing. Like there's so many different things that you could do, and you saw it wasn't even like it wasn't just like, oh, we're not going to do it. It was a refusal to do stuff like that. So I think we've talked about it before, and I know we'll get into it in the season recap, but we take the glasses off and how stagnant everything was. And tonight was such a breath of fresh air where it's like, man,
Played
this looks
loose.
like a well-ran college football team.
It does, and I think we've really played loose, and you saw that.
They looked like they were having fun.
They
were
looked like
passing
they were
the hat
having
around on the
fun.
sideline.
Absolutely.
The cowboy hat after big plays. Or
Should have been
the
passing around
turnover.
tequila. Should have been taking rips. Of,
But it looked like
taking
our
rips of
guys
rock
were
and
having
roll.
fun, and that was great to see again.
It was so good to see. God, that's really interesting to contrast that with what we've seen game in and game out throughout the last 5 seasons. Being easy about it, just having fun, and being a kid. I mean, college kids just experiencing.
I mean, I think
winning
we
a
had
football
that in
game.
the 17, 18, 19 seasons. The 20 season seemed forced, and this year seemed completely off the whole year. And
I
we
don't know,
all
eight-
felt it.
Yeah.
18 and 19.
Something in the
18
air.
and 19 started feeling. I mean, 17 clearly. You have Baker, who is obviously
Oh,
lighting
God.
up the sideline. It's everything is loose.
Yeah.
It's loose because Baker's loose, and 18 was not as loose, but you knew Kyler was going to beat you points, and you knew as long as you had Kyler Murray on your team and you had the ball last, you're probably going to win the game.
Yep.
So it wasn't loose, but it was like we're good. 19 is a little bit more like
very tight
It's a
and
little
very
bit
strange.
structured, very
We had a
rigid.
brand new quarterback coming in.
Yeah, so it's kind of a little
I
bit
think
more
Hurts had fun in
tight.
on that team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in his own way.
I think he could have had fun.
He had a Jalen Hurts fun.
Yeah. There you
I mean,
go.
if you watch him
Whatever
with
that
the Eagles
means.
now, he seems to be having fun some of those games.
Yeah,
Just the team and the experience didn't seem the same.
but I mean,
and it
I
got
think
really weird last year.
But
Yeah.
last year's when it started.
The
feeling
character
good
starts to change. The makeup of the team starts
this
to
whole
change.
season,
So-
and we've said it during the pause. It's
Mm-hmm.
something. Y'all kept saying things were fixable. I kept saying, who knows? They may not be, but it does seem like things were
Weird.
weird because the coach wasn't paying attention or had his foot out the door or whatever, and it just wasn't the same the whole
It
year.
was.
But I mean,
so
there's stuff
weird.
I'd like to go back and look at. I'll go rewatch this game, but I mean, let's go look at the defensive substitution situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often were 7 people out tonight? I don't think we're Jalen Redmond saw a lot
we
of
didn't have
snaps
a chance
tonight.
tonight because we're short 4 starters on defense.
Yeah, you're short, but regardless, crap. I mean, you think that's going to stop Alex Grinch from 7 people in?
Find
No
somebody.
way. Oh no, it's a snap count type of thing.
He'd throw an offensive lineman in
exactly.
there.
So I mean, you'd have Billy Bowen playing running back and freaking nickel. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different factors, but it definitely felt like we walked the walk that the coaches have always thought we were talking going into this. Like that Grinch wanted us to do is like, man, clearly there's a gap between what these players were being told and then what the product was delivering on the field.
Yeah.
So, and it was great to see the talent show. Like, this wasn't just something that we've been wondering about, or it's something that we've been imagining. Like, these guys are good at football. Mm-hmm. A lot of these guys, at least, are.
I mean, I felt like Brian Odom played pretty loose with the blitzes today. That was nice to see. If DJ Graham, not to just beat him up, but, I mean, there were some big passes on just because, like I said, either the safety didn't roll over or he just wasn't covering well enough.
Or he just wasn't stopping someone at the corner position.
It was nice to actually bring a 5th person.
Yes.
Because the quarterback kept having trouble. When he was under duress, he was making bad decisions. He kept throwing the ball low. Mm-hmm. When he was trying to avoid pressure, he might have a receiver that was open enough, but he kept throwing the ball low because he was being rushed at. And there wasn't a single offensive holding called against Oregon, even though we saw plenty of cases of it. I mean,
I don't know what it's going to take.
They shouldn't have called 10 times.
I don't know what it's going to take.
They could have easily called 3
for
or 4.
our guys to get holding calls.
They could have easily called 3 or
understand
4, and none of them happened. But bringing that extra blitzer was. I mean, I'm guessing that's all Odom because he had the free reign to do what he wanted to.
We got guys that are going to be able to do that too.
I think that's a really good point. Yeah. And
Grinch maybe just be too conservative.
Too conservative about it, and too conventional. The other thing about the coaching, maybe they're not coaching players on how to get a call of holding. Yeah. You've got to demonstrate it. You've got to be absolutely.
Flaily
watch
arms.
English Premier League soccer and watch Arsenal play. You know, they take dives all the time. Maybe that kind of situation.
And it works. That's why we're 4th in the league right now.
So. How good is Tottenham?
I mean, they're not 4th.
I mean, we're 2 games down. We have 2 games in hand.
Is this a soccer podcast?
We're gonna step ahead of Tottenham and Arsenal in no time.
That's our off season. This will be the soccer podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up with any other thoughts we have about the game. I just love it for Big Game Bob. I love it that he's 10-9 now in bowl games. He came back. He was able to coach his son. And not just coach his son in the game. His son scored a touchdown. That was beautiful. That was so cool.
The visor handoff.
The first touchdown of the game.
Yes.
He scored the first touchdown of the game. Second touchdown of the game.
Second touchdown of the game, yeah. That was so cool.
Right. It's just a total feel-good story.
It is a feel-good story. Make good on everything.
When we did a pod for an OSU postgame and then immediately had to do a holy shit, Lincoln Riley is leaving podcast.
Go get my razor and I'm going to go to the bathtub type of moment.
To go from that moment on, what was that, November 28th-ish or whatever it was, to what today is on December 29th.
Yeah.
Winning a bowl game.
What a contrast.
Against a team that was in playoff contention up
Absolutely.
Until the next to last game of the season. I mean, they lost.
One in Columbus, Ohio, which is apparently a place that some people say it's tough to win. I don't know.
Yeah.
OU and Oregon have won that.
They lost their conference championship to get knocked out of the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And, they lost twice to Utah in the last 3 games. But
still.
We just beat what was left of that team.
Handily beat them.
There were some transfers and some opt-outs. But overall, I mean, it's nice to go out.
Still a very talented team.
Yep. Good times.
And we beat them handily, and we're going out on a high note, running into the 2022 season. We'll have spring ball ahead of us very soon. I'm excited.
Yep. Oh, man, that'll be a fun podcast. Spring game podcast will be a fun
Absolutely.
podcast. Yep. So, we want to work on, I mean, for me, I'm super pumped. I think this was a blast. Like, I have caught my breath. The season was exhausting.
It was.
Every game was so stressful.
Like as much as I am a homer, like I had a noose waiting for me back home every time I got there.
By far the most stressful season.
We went to so many. We went to all the games until Bedlam.
Until Bedlam, and for those of you who want to question us, I don't miss games, but fuck Stillwater.
Yeah.
So, we can bleep that
The
out.
mayor
whatever,
of
fix that in
Stillwater
post.
says the same thing.
So no, I'm super excited. I think the future of this team is a bright shining star. It's
That's for another podcast.
the toughness is there. We'll wrap it up for tonight, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a
Well, I'm
blast.
excited. I agree,
So,
and it's been an incredible season, incredible journey, incredible first year for our podcast. Thank the listeners.
Yep.
we'll try to get some guest
Thank
speakers
all the
next
feedback.
year.
We get some guest
Yeah.
speakers. We're going to get some.
We like the questions. Get on Twitter.
Oh, absolutely.
Facebook,
Engage
send
us.
them in. Yep.
We are all ears, and we want to engage and talk to you
We've got a
guys.
new logo. Check it out.
We appreciate
Yeah,
everybody.
maybe
Yeah.
some T-shirts to come on the logos.
Yeah,
So,
maybe some prizes, big prizes,
you-
big
keep
cash
you
and prizes
posted
for
on that.
those who have some engagement
See
with
if we can
us.
work on something NIL related for a player.
I
You never
like
know.
it. I like it a lot. But until then, Boomer Sooner.
Boomer Sooner.